DreAllDay.com.
You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one bundle, one framework, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, several books, but one book, and one approach, all under the umbrella of the same name that it shares with this daily masterclass. It is all called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today we are talking about time and how time is neither your friend nor your enemy. Time is not on your side and time is not working against you. I know you've heard those cliches. Neither one of them is true. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why that is here today. But before I get into that, let me tell you that I have a text message line where I want you to text me. And you can ask me any question here. You can share any challenge here. You can also offer me any commentary or feedback on what you hear in today's masterclass. My number is 305-384-6894. That number is also down below in the show notes. And let me tell you what else is going to happen once you text me. Even if you don't have a comment or question about anything in particular right now, once you text me, you will be in my texting community, which means you will receive my daily motivation text message, which I send out actually every single day. It's called daily motivation. So once I call it daily motivation, I basically sign myself up for a lifetime job. So every day you're going to receive a text message from me in the morning, at least Eastern time in the morning, that is going to keep you sharp, focused, on point. Just something to what do we call it? Let's call it a splash of cold water in your face mentally in a good way. Every single day, straight to your phone. That'll be my daily motivation text that you will get, even if you don't have a particular question about anything right now. So just text me right now, just say hi. Once we confirm you, you'll be receiving my daily motivation text every morning. Again, 305-384-6894. So to today's topic, time neither your friend nor your enemy. Now, being that time is the most valuable of our 5 resources, we all have five particular resources that are most valuable that you have in life. Them being time, number 1, money, attention, energy, and focus. You can put those in whatever order you wish, but time is definitely number 1. This is a thing that we need to address. How you are using your time, your understanding of time, how much you are valuing time, and what is your relationship to time? Because of all those other resources, money, attention, energy, and focus, sometimes you have a lot of it, sometimes you have a little bit of it, sometimes you need a little bit more of it, sometimes you feel like you could even waste a little bit of it, sometimes you feel like you may even have some excesses of those things. But understand, when it comes to time, it's steady. All right, you never really have extra, you never really have not enough. It's steady, it's constant, and when it's over, it's over. So we need to talk about time here. Again, we talked about time a lot of times on this show, and we're going to talk about time. Let me tell you right now, we're going to talk about time many more times in the future of this show. This is not the last time, see what I did there, that I'm going to talk about time here on the show. So make sure you understand everything that I'm talking about here today, even if you need to listen to it more than once. And most recently, I talked about where to spend your time when you are doing any type of selling. That was episode 1594. In episode 1412, I told you one of my most important principles. The early is on time is late, and late is forgotten. That was episode 1412. And episode number 812, that you do not have time to utilize on worrying when you are working. And one of the most important episodes on time is episode number 777, where I talked about the concept of time perspective. And I also mentioned time perspective in my recent book, The Third Day, which if you don't have that book yet, or you have not ordered it yet, go to thirddaybook.com while you're listening to me right now. Place your order for that book. The book is free. I've already paid for it. All you're going to do is cover the shipping. Again, it's at thirddaybook.com. But I talked about time perspective in episode 777 and how time perspective determines your success. If you don't know what time perspective is, that means either you don't remember what I said 1,200 days ago in episode 777, or you have not read The Third Day, and either one of those you can fix by going and listen to 777 and claiming your free copy of The Third Day, where I explain it in even more detail. So all that said, let's get into the points of today's masterclass. Point number 1, topic once again, is time is neither your friend nor your enemy. Understand that time is a man-made construct. So being that it's made by man, it is not something that time is not no nature. It's not like a tree growing or birds chirping. It's something that we created. We created the concept of time just to give us a better grasp of what's going on. So with that known, understand that time is not against you. All right, time is not against you. If you're old, that doesn't mean, or whatever you consider to be old, that doesn't mean time is against you. If you are short on time, again, the man-made construct of time, let's say you have a research paper due at school in 2 days and you haven't even started, time is not necessarily against you. It is also, if you got 2 years before that research paper is due, time is not on your side. If you're 16 and you're looking at somebody who's 65 and you're wondering who you're going to be when you're 65, time is not necessarily on your side just because you're 49 years behind that individual. Understand something about time, and keep this in mind at all times about time, is that it is completely impartial. Time is oblivious to your plans and your ideas and how much of it you think you need or have. I'm going to repeat that. Time is completely impartial, oblivious to your plans and your ideas, and time does not give a damn how much of it you think that you need or have. Because most of the time, when people think they have a lot of time, they often find out that they're wrong, usually too late. And when you think you don't have a lot of time, you might have more than you think you did. Again, if we're talking in a like hard, tangible numbers type of time mindset. But time doesn't care. Time moves on with or without you. What you do with your time, or even if you choose to acknowledge the existence of your time, is completely up to you. You have choices here. All right? You have free will to do whatever you want to do with your time, or not use it at all if you don't want to. But whatever you think about your time, or if you don't think about it at all, time doesn't care. All right? Your thoughts about time have no effect on what time is actually going to do. It's going to keep moving at the exact same steady pace, whether you do something with it or you don't, whether you are here to utilize it or you're not. All right, time moves on with or without all of us. All that said, point number 2, today's topic, once again, is time is neither your friend nor your enemy. Number 2, you have as much time as you say you have. All right, this is what you have to understand about time. And this is something that in one of my, I have this video I made on YouTube, probably, who knows what year that was, maybe 2015, I put it out, 2014, 2015. Where a lot of basketball players would ask me questions about, Dre, when is it too late? Is it ever too late for someone to get started in basketball, or too late for someone to make it in basketball? And this might be a kid who's 14 years old and they're just getting started playing. They might be asking, or it might be somebody who's 17 and they are now thinking they want to get a college scholarship. They're a senior now. Is it too late for that? Or someone might be 24 and they're thinking about playing professional basketball overseas. Or maybe they want to try to play college basketball because they haven't used any of their eligibility yet. So at different levels, I get players asking me all the time, what is it too late to play basketball? Too late to make it in basketball? And I made this video explaining to them the answer, the general answer to the question, and I go into more detail in that video, and I will give you more detail right now on this masterclass, is that how much time you have and whether it is too late for you is really up to you. It's really up to your discernment, it's up to your perception, in a way that is really just about the conversation you're going to have with yourself. How much time do you actually have? With the caveat that you don't control when your time is up, you have as much time as you think you do. So if you're 50 years old, and you think it's too late to start a business, okay, then for you it is. Now, you don't know when your time is up. Maybe it'll take 5 years to get your business going and you're gonna be dead when you're 52. You don't know that yet, but if that's what it's gonna be, then yeah, you ended up being right. You didn't have enough time. Or maybe you got started and you found out that you didn't have enough time, you thought that you did. The thing is, the one caveat that all of us have to deal with is that at some point, every one of us, at least as of this recording, with the knowledge and the science, quote unquote science that we have these days, all of us at some point will expire. At some point, every one of us will have our time come to an end. The thing is, none of us know when that is. Therefore, since none of us know when our time is up, we're not all running the same race. In other words, I remember when I was 15, 16 years old, and I would be at the playground playing basketball with my peers who were similar ages, and we would see these older guys, we would call them the old heads, and they weren't even really that old. They were like late 20s, maybe early 30s, and they'd be playing basketball too. And they'd be telling us stuff, we'd be telling them stuff, we'd be talking trash to them and all that. And we would say amongst ourselves, usually not directly to them, but amongst ourselves, man, when I get to be his age, I'm gonna be better than him at basketball. I'm gonna be doing this thing or that thing that those older guys weren't doing, because we all figured, look, I have 15 years to catch up to where he's at. I'm gonna do better than what he's doing, because I have 15. We figured with the 15 years, we're gonna do all these great things in order to catch up to and surpass these older men. Now, did all of us do that? Well, I actually never really talked like that, because I would often think to myself, even back then, that just because you're going to get older, and I would look at the older guys and I say, well, listen, when they were 15 to 16, they're probably saying the same thing to the older guys of their generation, and many of them didn't live up to all the stuff they were saying when they were 15 or 16. That's a long time to keep to a commitment. And from what I saw, I mean, I didn't keep up with everybody who was my age or who is my age from back then until now, but from what I saw, many of them didn't do all the stuff they were talking about. Most of them were done and out of basketball within 3 years. I'm talking about the 15, 16-year-olds, even though they're talking all this stuff about what they were going to do in basketball to be better than the older guys. Many of us think just because we're looking at someone who is further ahead of us in years, that by the time we get to their age, maybe it's 5 years, might be 1 year, might be 50 years, that we're younger than them, we think, all right, with all that time that I have between my age and their age, I'm going to do all of these things. I'm going to be so productive and do all this stuff that's going to surpass that individual. Most of the time, it doesn't happen. Again, it's just been my experience. Just my experience from what I've heard people talking about. People talking about all the stuff that they're going to do with the time that they have in front of them, or at least the time they think they have in front of them. Because just because you're 16 and somebody else is 35, or nobody, who guarantees you're going to make it to 35? And who's guaranteeing that you're going to do all this stuff over the next 19 years in order to surpass this person who's 35 right now? I mean, it sounds good when you're talking about it. Everything sounds good when we're talking about it, right? But how many people actually do it? Look at the age that you are now and think about what everybody was saying they were going to do 5 years ago. Everybody who's your age group. Did they do it? How many of them did it? How many of them actually stuck to the thing they were talking about? How many of them actually made a plan and strategized and executed on the stuff they were saying, versus how many were just idly talking shit? Most people are the latter. Idly just talking about what they gonna do and don't do it. So in life, you have as much time as you say you have, with the caveat that when your time is up, your time is up. So you might be right, you might be wrong, but the only way you're actually gonna find out is to execute, knowing that when your time is up, your time is up. Nobody's guaranteed to make it to age X unless you already passed that age. Meaning, if you want to take a week to get something done, or you want to take an hour to get something done, is your choice. But when your whole time is up, it's over. Doesn't matter what you have accomplished. Does not matter what you have planned. Doesn't matter what you were about to do. Doesn't matter what you were talking about doing. Doesn't matter how much time somebody else had or has compared to you. When your time is up, that's it. And all this means you can use time as you wish, knowing that there is a limit that you are unaware of, and for the most part, you are not in control of. Now, you could be in control of it. I mean, you have the option if you wanted to take your life and end your time anytime you want to, if you wanted to. Assuming that most people who are listening to this show want to live, you don't have control over when that time's over. So you got as much as you end up using, that's how much you have. So if it takes you to 80, it takes you to 80. It takes you to 41, it takes you to 41. It takes you to 20, it takes you to 20. I mean, we all have, how many people do you know who passed away knowing that they were about to pass away that day? I'm gonna let you sit on that one. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is time is neither your friend nor your enemy. With all this being said, as I said at the top of this class, time is the most important resource that you have, being that everything else you're doing does not matter anymore when your time ends. This is why time is your most important resource. Now, when we talk money, attention, energy, and focus, all of those things do matter. I mean, they're part of your most valuable resources. Of course they matter. But when your time is up, it doesn't matter how much money, attention, energy, or focus you have, had, or were utilizing in the moment. When your time is up, all of those things go away. I mean, your attention, energy, focus are internal things that belong to you. So they completely go away. Your money, somebody else can do something with that, whatever amount you have, but you ain't got no control. I mean, you can have your last will and testament and all that stuff, but you actually don't control what's going to happen with it from that point moving forward. It's over. You're out of the game. Everybody else gets to decide. So time is the most valuable one, because when it's over, all the rest of them go away. And the more time you do have, the more all of the other things you can do or acquire or enjoy. Used time, whether you completely waste that time based on your estimation, or you fully utilize that time, cannot and will not be recovered. In other words, whatever age you are right now, subtract 1 from that number and think about all of the previous year before your most recent birthday. You can never get that time back. So whatever you did with it is done. Whether you used it and you did a whole bunch of great things and it was amazing and you wish you could relive that year, great, can't do it again. If you didn't use it at all, you didn't do anything, and you would rather that year just be erased from your memory because you didn't really get anything done, you were very unproductive in that time, doesn't matter, that's done, it's over. When the time is used, it's gone. It doesn't matter how you used it. It cannot be recovered. All this said, protect your time the way you would protect your smartphone, or the way you would protect your bank account, or the way you would protect any other trivial item that is not more valuable than time. There isn't anything. There's no tangible item that comes close to being as valuable as time. So protect your time the way you are protecting those inanimate objects, because it is infinitely more valuable. And if you don't have many tangible possessions, you don't have a lot of inanimate objects, you don't have many things, if you feel like you don't have a lot of money right now, you don't feel like you have that much opportunity right now, understand that with proper utilization of time, your most valuable resource, you can create as much opportunity and acquire as many material possessions as you want. But no matter how much opportunity or material possessions you have, when you run out of time, the game's over. So this is why time is the most important thing that you have, even though it's a man-made construct. However you choose to look at time, when it's over, no matter how you look at it. So all this said, let's recap today's class, which is time is neither your friend nor your enemy. With time being the most valuable of your 5 resources, which I covered in episode number 609, is something that we got to make sure we're on the same page about. And I've talked about it in many other master classes here. I gave you those at the beginning of this episode. They are linked down below in the show notes. Point number 1, time is a man-made construct. So time is neither against you, nor is it on your side. Those are cliches that we use that can make us feel better, or maybe light some fire under you, or give you a sense of urgency at certain times, but they are not actually true. The cliches are fine, they're not harmful, they're victimless cliches, but understand, time is completely objective, it's completely impartial, it is oblivious to you, what you're thinking, what you want to do with it, is going to go on with or without you. As you're here right now, time is going on, and when you are long gone and turned to dust, time is going to keep moving no matter what you do. So what you do with your time is completely up to you. Point number 2, you have as much time as you say you have, with the caveat that you don't control when that time's over. So it's kind of like I'm telling you 2 things that are actually in conflict with each other, but they're both true at the exact same time. A wise person can hold 2 ideas in their mind at the same time, especially when those ideas possibly are in conflict. So you have as much time as you think you do. You think you have a week to get that done, go ahead, take a week. You think you have an hour, go ahead, take an hour. But when your time's up, whether it's in a week or an hour, it's it. Doesn't matter what you were in the middle of doing. Point number 3, all this said, time being the most important resource that you have, because everything else goes away when your time ends. The more time that you have, or the more time that you utilize, the more of the other things you will be able to do, acquire, or enjoy. Once you use some time, whether you used it to waste that time or you use it to fully utilize your time, that time cannot and will not be recovered. So protect your time the way you're protecting your smartphone, the way you protect your login to Instagram, the way you protect your bank account, the way you protect your cash, the way you protect your favorite pair of shoes, because it is more valuable. With enough time, you could acquire any material possession that you want. With all those material possessions, you cannot buy even 1 minute of additional time when that sand in the hourglass runs out. So looking at your 5 forms of investment, start treating your time like the most valuable resource that you have, because that is what it is. So all this said, if you are looking to make the most of your time, you really want to maximize your time, you want to make sure you're making the most of your opportunities personally and professionally, you want to make sure you get to where you really want to get to in your life before that time runs out, again, not knowing when that's going to be, you may be a good candidate for my 3rd-day mastermind, which is the only place that I offer direct one-on-one coaching. The only way to get into that mastermind is to go to workonyourgameuniversity.com/call. You fill out a quick form where from there, we will schedule a call. You'll get on a Zoom call with me. We'll talk about where you're at, where you want to go, and we'll talk about how I could possibly help you. And that is the only way to get coached by me directly. So anybody ever asking about that, that's how it's done. The link to that is also, if you couldn't guess, down below in the show notes. So other thing I'll tell you, send me a text. Tell me the best thing you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre, all